Mike?
Back to our show, Sunshine, dear viewers. So now we're going to start our first interview segment for today with Jassim Al-Awadi and also Rashid Mbarak. Public transportation has a huge role in reducing the traffic jam. That is what was all see in Europe and US. Throughout this idea, we have heard about the initiative of Kuwait Commute, which encourages public transportation, according to the study that they made. So we'd like to welcome you, our guest, but before we start our interview, we're going to go with this report about the Kuwait Committee, then we'll be right back.
Introduction to Kuwait Commute Initiative. Kuwait Commute is a social initiative works to increase awareness of the public transport system and traffic situation. Aims to be part of a realistic and workable solution to improve the traffic situation through our use of public transport in Kuwait. The initiative's mission is looking to a public transport system that fits our values through a passenger transport system consisting of different vehicles. The most important of them are buses that operate smoothly and are organized by an organization that represents the country.
We are back in our show, Sunshine, dear viewers. As you can see, we already saw the report about the Kuwait Commute. And we'd like to welcome our guest, Jassim Al-Awadi, and also Rashid Al-Mbarak. And we are welcoming you to our show today. And
yes, welcome, dear guests. And I think it's wonderful because I don't think that we use public, I mean cars. We don't rent cars when we are abroad. So volunteering this to initiate the public transportation here in Kuwait, it's something really marvelous and wonderful. So could you tell us a little bit about this commute?
Of course, thank you Kuwait TV for having me. It's always a pleasure to come here. What we are doing is that it's a social initiative raising awareness about the situation of public transport and traffic in Kuwait. We have a problem in Kuwait is that we do not have an alternative to driving private cars. So what we decided to do is just raise awareness what we have right now and show people the issues. For example, there are many deficiencies in the system currently. For example, less than 15% of all major roads in Kuwait have public transport service. And we would like to see that every road in Kuwait has public transport service. And it was great to be part, we had 3 phases. Phase 1 is raising awareness, and phase 2 is that we want to do a pilot project in Kuwait City. And we are very happy to collaborate with Projx about this issue because it's something that we all want to develop in Kuwait.
Wonderful.
So
that
now
is wonderful.
Yeah, for sure. Now I'll go to my question for you. Now, what about, because we already mentioned us about the commute, so what about the project?
So Projx is a design build firm in Kuwait. So we do architecture, urban design, and construction. But you know, as a part of social responsibility, we love the drive that Kuwait Commute has with the development of the public transport experience in Kuwait, where no one uses public transport in Kuwait, unfortunately, and the percentage has been decreasing by years. So we jumped into creating this new model of developing at least one street in Kuwait. We're focusing this time on Shara Ahmed Al-Jabir, into making it the ultimate mass transport model in Kuwait, and hopefully encourage Kuwaitis and non-Kuwaitis to utilize mass public transport media, and hopefully that will be a great start for and expand for such an experience in Kuwait.
That's really wonderful.
Thank you.
It just came to my mind. When we are abroad, we don't think about any transportation, just the public transportation.
Sure.
So why is this difference here from Kuwait to abroad when I'm traveling?
The thing is, the infrastructure here in Kuwait with the public transport is really not developed enough and not really ready to welcome all groups into using it. The stops and the routes are not really effective and in the nice and correct spots. And also the variety is also limited. We only have buses, and we don't have enough bus lines. We don't have enough buses. So we need to introduce more public transport lines into it. Like we're hoping for the metro, I don't know. We're also shooting for a tram, probably. We also need to enhance the pedestrian experience, and also with the hot topic, bike lanes and such.
Okay, now my question goes to Mr. Jassim Al-Awadi. Did you reach through the proper channel to expose your idea about this?
Yes, we spoke to the Ministry of Interior, Major General Jamal Al-Sayegh. We spoke to a number of members of parliament, most recently Mr. Osama Shaheen. We also spoke to the chairman of the Public Authority for Road and Transportation, because part of their agenda is to develop mass transit. We also spoke to the operators of the bus companies, all three of them. We also are going to speak with people who are being affected the most, who are the real estate developers. There's a big problem in Kuwait of parking. All of us have seen it. And the Real Estate Union just published in 2018 a report about the a shortage of parking in Kuwait. After the study was finished, they found out that there is a 51% gap in parking in Kuwait. And to build multi-story parking, it costs 7.1 billion KD. So we decided to include all stakeholders as much as possible. And of course, me, Jassim, I use public transport. And this is my ticket today. I came to work going by the bus.
Until here, Mr. Information?
Yes.
That's wonderful. Well, that was my next question. Did you use the bus?
I love it.
Really?
I love it, yes. It's very important to provide public transport for especially people who first of all, don't want to drive. I don't want to drive. I started this because I don't want to drive. Yeah. People who have diseases, diabetics, epilepsy, seniors, children, it has to be catering to all needs. And this is why we are starting this, because we found out that there's a big gap in Kuwait. Only 2% of the total population in Kuwait use the bus. So they don't use the bus because it does not service them. This is the main reason we found out.
Amal, it goes me to a question, because you are mentioning you are coming here through like a bus.
Yes.
So now I want to share with the viewers about the convenience about the buses in Kuwait, because people and the local people don't know about the convenience about the facilities of the buses.
Okay, so there is some. I'm very lucky that my house is next to a very major bus line, 103. And it was easy for me to go there. But then, for example, I wanted to go to Salmiya from my house. It's by car 25 kilometers, and by bus was 30 kilometers. And it took me, usually it takes me by car 25 minutes, but then by bus, because of the lack of development as a public service since 1978, the second master plan, it took me 2 hours. And then it's a problem because this can be quickly changed. You can just change the bus route, and then it will become more efficient for people to use. It will become more welcoming. The existence of public transport is not reason enough to use it. It has to be attractive to users, efficient, and eco-friendly.
Well, I think that is the main issue here. But as I see, we have a 2-story buses here in Kuwait, and a lot of new buses that's going on. And I think some of the communities are building bus stops. Don't you think so?
Yeah, there are a lot of community engagement with this topic. People really want public transport. They want to use it. They want to develop it. They just don't know how to do it and how to push it. And that's why we're here, because we got the background and expertise of hopefully proposing something that could be executed in the future. The thing is, you mentioned the two-story buses and such. The infrastructure itself needs to be developed rather than the bus as a cabin itself, especially that I don't believe that the buses now could really cater some groups like the handicapped or the blind or other groups where they can't really access. It's not really accessible by all groups.
Amazing. Now I'm gonna have a question for Jassim Al-Awadi, because you already mentioned you have like a bus stop near your home, 103. So did the number of the buses covers all the areas in Kuwait so far?
Well, less than 15% of all major roads in Kuwait have bus access, and this wasn't the case before. Before, in the 80s and 70s, we had 50 routes that included the most prestigious areas in Kuwait: Abdullah Salim, Adeliya, Da'iyah. But then, after 1991, those routes major cut down. And the thing is, we have about 750 buses, more or less, between all three operators. The city of London itself has 8,600. So in reality, we do have a shortage of buses, we do have a shortage of routes, and we need to provide the service for everybody to use because, as I mentioned, we don't have parking. As I mentioned, also in my previous presentations, that we cannot build more roads because there has been annual growth of 2% in roads in comparison of 5% in cars. So this is something that is very important.
And because about your effort and also the state of Kuwait effort, everything will become better and better for even the transportation. I know you have a question for Rashid Mbarak, right?
Yes, that's right. So what are the obstacles that came to you while doing those projects?
Such an initiative, you mean, like the public transport? So it's an initiative where we don't really have the support going on. I'm talking about official support.
Yes.
So we just decided to go for it ourselves. And we started scouting for friends with expertise. In this case, Jassim Al-Awadi was the first in mind. When I used to actually go to his talks and listen to him, I actually got inspired, and I thought, at least there's someone who's really caring about this topic. So it's really a personal effort here. And we're pushing, inshallah, for officials to kind of jump in with us.
So the obstacles was the funds or the means?
It's full of obstacles. so funds is one of them. Exposure is another one. Official engagement, I mean, ministries and authorities to jump in and actually support such an initiative, it's a big one that we need very soon.
Well,
Now,
I hope someone would listen right now to you and would really give a hand, don't you think, Abdelaziz?
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, because Jassim and Rashid, they are sitting, talking and sharing with us about the Kuwait Commute. So I want to know more, Jassim, about how many members you are here in Kuwait Commute.
At the moment, we are a group of 4 people, me, Jassim Al-Awadi, the founder and executive director, and also we have the creative director, Halal Al-Mahmoud. And right now we are happy to include projects with Rashid Al-Mbarak. And also we have Mohammed Al-Sagar, who is from Sagar Real Estate, because we all share the same vision to have a better urban experience in Kuwait City, to have accessibility to education and jobs to everybody in Kuwait, and also to up the standard of living in Kuwait.
Well, as you just said, the schooling, I remember when I was young, we always used the transportation of buses going from and through to schools. So is that in mind with your commute?
It is in mind. The thing is that cars have become more convenient to individuals now. And the reason is that the public transport experience is not up to the standard yet. You can go and use the bus, you would rather use your car instead, just because it's not that comfortable. So we're pushing back into making public transport experience more convenient and easy and a pleasant experience and quick, of course, where people go back to it instead of using their personal cars.
That's a nice thought, don't you think? It would really reduce the traffic jam, and also the pollution, I think. That is good for the environment of Kuwait, yes.
And also, Jassim, what percentage in your mind we have to reduce in traffic jam in Kuwait?
Well, the World Bank has the statistic that 30% of the population need to use public transport to be labeled as successful. So this is something that we have 28% gap in Kuwait. And also the fact that it will help everybody feel better about themselves. So people who use the bus and people who don't use the bus.
Amazing. So
wonderful. I think I'm going to use the bus from now on. I hope there's a bus stop beside my house.
There is a
Well, we really thank you very much for this initiative and really the volunteering work you do both. That is really a good on the community of Kuwait And I think everybody would really try the bus once in their life here in Kuwait. So how about from now we start it?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for being with us today, Mr. Jassim Al-Awadi and Mr. Rashid Mbarak for being with us today. Now, dear viewers, we're going to go with this flash for Be Careful, and then we'll be right back.